This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free. Hey y'all, I hope everybody's doing good today. Let me say hey to y'all. Good to see you, Abellis, Norma, Edith, Jenny Jen, Becky P, our lovely Cara, Glitter is Forever, Holly. I hope you're having a good day. Summer. I agree. Summer, I'm glad you brought that up actually. I was debating on whether to play the intro for this I apologize. I'm still getting myself together. I debated on whether to play the intro for this live because it is going to be very catastrophic, sad, devastating. So many words we could use, but I there's a lot of people here that really like the intro, so I've actually already got my pen and paper out so that I can write that so it can be skipped past during the video. But I want you to know that I did debate on whether to even play the intro because this is such a heavy topic. I decided to do it because it gave me a minute to get myself together. And again, I'm going to put a timestamp at the end of the live to skip past all of that. But I do appreciate you bringing that up. Hey, one sunny day. Good to see you. Connie, Becky P, Miss Sarah. Good to see you. Connie Branch, thank you for being here. Informed us that there has been 92 deaths. As of this morning, it was 81 or 82. And I mean, again, unfortunately, the confirmed deaths are going to rise probably as time goes on today. Cindy from sunny South Florida, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I greatly appreciate that. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. And I will grab the crazy train to pick our new members up on the way to Speculation Station. And then we are going to transition because, again, this is going to be a very heavy and it's going to be a very heavy topic. So let me pick up our new members. Thank you so much, Miss Cindy. I saw that Crystal Burns, Roxanne, Irene Penny. I'm like 5 hours away from here. It's really sad. I can't imagine. Roxanne, good to see you. San Francisco. He's on quarantine. I know. It's really sad. GB, good to see you. Crystal, thank you for sending prayers for Texas. Indy said about 4 hours south of where I live. Right. And I know a lot of people enjoy the intro no matter what the subject is. But like I said, I am going to make sure to do a timestamp to skip the intro because it's a hard thing to deal with. And sometimes the song, people like it and it helps to deal with these heavy topics. So we're at 9:53. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Just wrote down my timestamp to skip the intro. Snarky Pants, good to see you. So we're going to start with what happened, basically. I want to show you guys this real quick, and then we're going to read an article. So there was flash flooding. Becky P said, "Are locals and or nearby communities organizing to help the area?" I'm glad that you asked that. FEMA is on the scene, and I did drop a link for anybody in the area that needs help for the FEMA operation. That is in the description box. I'm not sure if I can drop it and pin it in the comment section. I am going to try when we go to a video and I have a moment to do that. But it is in the description box if anybody is from the area and needing help as far as, FEMA can help. Hio, real quick, while we are also here, Hio also made an emoji last night, I do believe, for the victims of Camp Mystic. I did just drop those emojis in the comment section. Camp Mystic specifically colors were blue and red. GB Okay, hold on. I know that there's two of me. My computer's booting back up. I apologize. This is like the worst time for this to happen too, because this is such a heavy topic. Hold on, I'm getting it back up. The family's leaving to go camping, and as they were going out the door, the breaker flipped, I do believe. So hold on just a minute. We're getting it. We're getting it. Oh, I got to turn on my hotspot. Sorry, I'm not responding. I'm just trying to get all this done. If y'all are talking. Okay, my hotspot's on. While the computer boots up, we're going to connect to the hotspot. We're going to store. Okay, I'm back in StreamYard. Hold on just a minute. I'm coming. Okay, let me exit. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and I apologize. So yeah, okay, I lost my train of thought. I dropped the emojis that Hio made in the comment section for Camp Mystic to remember them. I did pin that to the top. Their colors were blue and red. Um and I wanted to share with y'all basically at the beginning what happened. If I can get it pulled back up. Okay. So in the early morning hours of July 4th, the Guadalupe River in Texas rose 26 feet in just 45 minutes due to heavy rainfall. This rapid rise in water level contributed to a devastating flash flood that resulted in numerous fatalities and widespread damage. The flood waters surged through the Texas Hill Country, catching many people off guard. Now, just so you're aware, if floodwaters rise 26 feet in 45 minutes, that means that they are rising at a rate of 6 feet per minute. 6 feet per minute. Bogart, thank you so much for gifting a membership. That was so very sweet of you. And that went to Anita Blackstone. I am going to not play our membership songs and things like that at this point because it's such a heavy topic. Welcome, Miss Blackstone, to memberships. I really appreciate you gifting. That was very sweet of you. Diversion of FEMA funds and the loss of 25% of layoffs at NOAA probably did not help the situation. I agree. So the floodwaters rose at a rate of 6 feet per minute. That is insane, very scary. It's understandable how people were not able to get out. I mean, Lord of mercy, like 6 feet per minute, like in 2 minutes, the cabins at the campground and I mean numerous other places, RVs, all of that would have been swept away 6 feet per minute. And then you got to think about all of that water rushing in at a rate. I mean, that's a very powerful influx of water as well. Let's see how fast they were going. So we got the 6 feet per minute. Okay, let me go back to this one. Oh, it means they were traveling at a speed of 6 feet per minute. Let's see in miles per hour. So it would be traveling approximately 3.3 miles per hour. Wouldn't 26 feet in 45 minutes equal out to about a little over half a foot per hour? That's what I thought. If floodwaters rise 26 feet in 45 minutes, that means that they are traveling at a speed of 6 feet per minute. That's what I thought. But when I put it in here, because I was like, well, that's like half an inch an hour. But when I originally put it in, that's what it said. So if floodwaters rise 26 feet in 45 minutes, how many feet per minute is that? And it says if floodwaters rise 26 feet in 45 minutes, that means they are rising at a rate of 6 feet per minute. Because I thought it would have been like half an inch. Like you said, I looked at it, Harlot Oscara, and thank you for being here. I said, wouldn't 26 feet mean a little over half a foot per hour? And then I'm like, well, it seems like maybe we would have been able to get out at that point 6 inches per minute. But then I put it in here and I was like, well, that's what that says, and that's AI. So maybe I'm not typing it in right. Hill country isn't easy to get in and out of. Windy roads go up and down, and altitude makes it dangerous. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. When I looked at the videos of it, it looks like it was rising faster than that. It looks like it would be about 6 feet. Right. I would think 6 inches per minute, not 6 feet, but like that's what AI says. If floodwaters rise 26 feet in 45 minutes, how many feet per minute is that? And AI's given me 6 feet per minute. So maybe they have it wrong. 6 inches per minute. The region got 12 inches or more of rain per hour. So maybe AI had it wrong. So, because this just said 12 inches per hour. Either way, that's what AI says. It seems like it would be about 6 inches per minute. Okay, I'll check it. So we're going to go over to YouTube and look at some of the videos that we have of the devastation and what happened. I wanted to show you guys kind of specifically about the camp. We'll go ahead and look at like some of these real quick to show you some images and videos.
This morning,
basically what happened.
This morning, the urgent search and rescue continues in Texas. National Weather Service data shows extreme rainfall caused the Guadalupe River in central Texas to swell more than 20 feet in less than an hour early on.
So it swelled more than 20 feet in less than an hour. AI is wrong a lot, unfortunately. I don't trust it at all. It seems like it is. And thank you for giving me that information, you guys. 6 feet per minute would drop 30 feet in 5 minutes. And thank you, Michael. Good to see you. It's 6 inches, not 6 feet. Okay, thank you. South Dakota Nana, thank you for being here. When I was 6 in 1972, I survived a 100-year flash flood that killed 238 people in my hometown. I would have thought we would have learned better awareness techniques by 2025. I get that. Hey, Cat's Eye, and I understand. It, from what I understand, this is not an area that saw flooding at, it wasn't an area prone to flooding. A lot of things, I'm sure we could look back on a lot of things and say a lot of things could have been done differently. But in this moment, when something happens like this, I think the main thing becomes trying to save as many lives as you can, regardless of things in place. I think the main thing is just trying to get people out. And what happened at Camp Mystic is absolutely devastating. But there's heroes in this situation, and I want to talk about them as well.
Friday.
CBS News' Nydia Cavazos has more from Austin, Texas, on the victims and the search and rescue operations from over the weekend.
There was so much screaming.
This morning, harrowing stories are emerging from survivors of the deadly flash flooding in central Texas over the weekend. Kerrville RV park owner Lorena Guillen says she watched helplessly as rushing waters washed through the campground.
There were dozens of vehicles just floating away.
Officials say there have been more than 160 rescues by helicopter, and search and rescue teams and hundreds of volunteers are combing the banks of the Guadalupe River. Texas officials say more than 80 people have died, and among the more than 40 missing are nearly a dozen children and counselor from the All Girls Camp missing.
Now you can see here when they show pictures of Camp Mystic, like how the windows are broken out. So that tells you how quickly stuff rose, how quickly it swept through.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott toured the devastated campground.
We will remain 100% dedicated, searching for every single one of the children.
As the community holds out hope, questions are growing over the lack of early warnings.
There's going to be a full review, of this so we can make sure that we focus on future preparedness.
Yesterday, President Donald Trump.
I'm not going to do anything political. I'm going to be very careful about that. Somebody just asked about Bad Girl. I did post in my members chat and ask how she is doing. I know she's had some medical issues going on. Thank you for asking, though, Edith. It swept away a bus of camp children. Oh, my goodness. 22 trillion gallons of rain from one of the news outlets. My God. My God. And yes, I'm glad you're here with us as well, Abellis. Thank God you South Dakota Nana. Thank God that you survived. It's not anything to play with. Hold on. Let me skip past President Trump. Give me 1 second. We're going to go to... Oh, my goodness. We're going to watch the...
Let's bring in Texas.
Oh, my gosh.
And unimaginable. Let's bring in Texas President.
We're going to watch the Fox News clip about the flooding real quick before we get into Camp Mystic. I also have an article to go over with you guys about this.
And YouTuber Brandon Herrera, who has been on the ground in Texas assisting with these rescue efforts. Brandon, thank you for joining us. The images are shocking, but you are seeing this with your own eyes. So can you describe the level of devastation that you're witnessing firsthand?
Yes, ma'am. So we first went up the night of the 4th just to kind of get a feel for the situation. It's probably 30 minutes away from where we are. So these are our neighbors. These are people that we know in the community. And it was shocking to see. There's cars and trees. It's hard to believe just how violent the water is. I've seen.
Also, Bogart, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That was really very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate that. Extreme weather happens very fast in Texas. Heat, rain, flood, snow, ice. Exactly. Bunch of the hills that are there all drain to the river at the same time, so the river can rise very quickly. Yes, ma'am, sunny day. One sunny day, that makes sense.
Floods before. I've never seen anything quite like this. I mean, the amount of force behind rushing water, it's breaking trees like toothpicks. It's got Connex containers up in trees. It's kind of insane, the devastation.
41 people, Brandon, are still missing, including those 10 campers. Is this still a rescue mission in your eyes? Is there still a chance?
Tom said the river was flowing at 160,000 cubic feet per second during the apex of the flood. There's no possibility of surviving a massive flow like that if you get caught in it. Thank you for that. That makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate that breakdown, and I apologize for trusting AI and having it wrong. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. So 160,000 cubic feet per second. I mean, yeah, there's absolutely no way you would survive that. Absolutely not. Yeah, thank you, Bogart. I appreciate that. That was sweet of you. And they had no idea what was coming. They were asleep.
Well, you always want to try to keep hope alive, especially there are people right now that are watching that are still missing loved ones. So you definitely still want to keep the idea that these people are savable. We found one yesterday. I was told that there was a rescue of someone who has survived yesterday.
I don't know if y'all saw that. We're at 126. I'm assuming this was during the the flooding, I don't know, but, like, they sped it up a little bit, but you can see that there's people standing down here by this bridge, and, yeah, it's flooded out, but not bad, and then we
That are
play
watching
it,
that are still missing loved ones.
and
So
you just
you definitely
see.
still want to keep the idea
Did you see how fast that water came in and just rose? Like, they had to move quickly to get away from it.
that these people
Hey,
are
Tony.
savable. We found one yesterday. I was told that there was
Oh
a
my
rescue
goodness.
of someone who has survived yesterday, but at this point, I think it's mostly being treated as a recovery operation, unfortunately.
Brandon, tell us more about the rescue that you.
Okay, so this is Camp Mystic site. It's obviously on the Guadalupe River. So we have the dining hall. This is missing girls at low-lying cabins next to the river. So these girls are missing right now that were in these cabins that were by the river. There's the office senior campers at higher elevation over here because and I if I had to assume, I'd say the reason that is because the these people are watching over the whole camp, so of course they would be back higher and at a higher elevation. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. So they could see the campers, and the campers would be closer to the water, so that they could access the water and do all of the things on the Guadalupe River and all of that. Um, it's easy to see how with the Guadalupe River being this close, it could flood out.
Witnessed yesterday, what were the circumstances and details surrounding their rescue?
Edith, thank you for gifting a membership. I really appreciate that. Dining hall. And I'm wondering I don't think they would have tried to go there to get away from the water. I would think they would go to the upper cabins at a higher elevation. Hey, Black Cat. Oh, thank you. This is not my map. This is from Fox News, but I appreciate that. This is the video you sent me. Okay. 100. So I just Googled Niagara and it's nearly identical, 168,000 per minute. So it would be like Niagara Falls rushing through an area that is not used to flooding at all. That's really scary when you put it like that, Michael. Thank you for that. So from what I've seen and what I saw at the time that I scheduled the live, which was about 11:30 this morning, there was 27 campers and counselors confirmed deceased. I think it was 21 children as of that time. I fished this morning at the Gunnison River in Colorado. Its water flow today was 700 cubic feet per second. Even in 700 cubic feet per second, you have to be careful wading while fishing. There was roads washed out by me all the way up in North Carolina and cars off to the side that were flooded.
Well, there was one that went pretty viral of a woman that was stuck in a tree. She was up in a tree, maybe 30 feet in the air, that they were finally able to get to. A woman in her mid-20s, which was awesome to see. There's a couple of stories of miraculous recoveries like that, but just with the violence of the water, you're finding people maybe 20, 30 miles from where they were picked up.
Oh my God.
Wow. And that is why you should always keep hope alive.
There you can see the water flow and things. There was also people camping in RVs to celebrate the 4th. They had no time. They didn't.
Your estimation, and maybe you've thought about this, I know you've been working with first responders and a fire department that has been just absolutely decimated by this flood, and I want to talk to you about that in a little bit. But do you think that there could have been anything to have better prepared people for something like this? Maybe an outdoor warning siren like those used in tornado-prone areas of Texas come to mind?
There's definitely going to be a lot of analysis of this afterward. This was a very tricky case, though, because
There's the RV resort. I don't know what it's a curvy or sandy river, and you can see the RVs just floating. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna pull that article up next. Thank you so much for that, Abellis. I know, and that's what makes it so much worse, Michael. They were probably having the time of their lives. And we've got it's, y'all, when I was going through the footage for specifically Camp Mystic, I almost started crying just getting the videos ready. So, I mean, it's absolutely devastating. And I appreciate y'all sending prayers and hugs to Texas. Carr County, yes, Irene, thank you for that. Um, I do want to try to do some type of fundraiser or something when I can, as soon as I can, when they start doing that to try to help out. And we have avenues that we can get a hold of and trust. I do want to try to send supplies like we did for the people of North Carolina in the mountains when the hurricane came through.
Because a lot of this stuff happened in the middle of the night. So it's hard to get the word out when everyone's asleep, especially when in certain areas like around Hunt, I know that there was massive power loss. So all of these things can just aid to the perfect storm.
Tell us about that fire department that you have been honing in on and trying to help out.
Absolutely. So a big staging area, especially early on, was the Center Point Volunteer Fire Department. They were completely underwater. It was pretty high up on the riverbank as well. But they even have a line inside the fire department where you can see the water was up to 8 feet. They lost a lot of their essential life-saving gear and a lot of their equipment was trashed. But within 24 hours, they had that fire station back up and running as far as being a base of operations. The guys on the ground there have been fantastic to work with. So we're trying to do what we can to work with first responders.
And the fact that the fire station flooded 8 feet, there's an 8-foot line. Hey, Kraka. In the fire station, and they lost a lot of their life-saving gear, just tells you that, this is not an area where things like this happen. Because if so, the fire station would have known about these things and been prepared. Nobody was prepared. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody even thought it was a possibility. And then at the rate the water was coming and the feet that it rose, 26 feet in 45 minutes, and water coming that quickly and that fast through, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You would think sirens will be given where I live. I have sirens, and they do a monthly routine, one to make sure all is good with the sirens. And I think that he had mentioned there was a loss of power. So if there is a loss of power, the question would be, can we still use the sirens? Tornado sirens activate for severe thunderstorms here in DFW. 91 people confirmed deceased so far, according to the BBC as of right now, which is 2:05 p.m. Eastern, July 7th, 2025. Happening at night did make it much worse. It did. It happened in 1987 before this. That was the last time that it had happened. So I mean that was 37 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that it would be that much of an issue if it happened one time 37 years ago. It's not going to be on your top list of possibilities or concerns. You know what I mean? The storm stalled money, kept dumping rain. The storm stalled and kept dumping rain. Mr. Speculating said that's what happened here last night, that it stalled and stayed right over us for a little while, and that's why the roads were washed out. I don't even know if they're going to be able to get down at the campsite today because there's roads flooded out so bad. And that, I mean, again, I'm all the way in North Carolina, in the upper part of North Carolina too, not even nowhere near like South Carolina.
Get them energy drinks, help with recovery efforts, basically anything we can do to try to help this go smoother.
Well, when disaster strikes like this, you have state, local, federal all coming in at once, along with charities and outside organizations rather. Do these rescue efforts feel organized to you?
There's always going to be some issues when it comes to interagency operations. That was the number one complaint that we heard from first responders early on.
I mean, how do you organize though in a situation like this? How do you get everybody together on the same page when everybody's just concerned about loss of lives and trying to save people?
Is that communications were questionable at best. and especially interagency communications. But it strikes me that this is something that wasn't massively rehearsed. So you're always going to have those sort of complications.
Right.
And it begs the question as to whether or not maybe it should be.
Is there anything else that's needed right now?
Right now, I think we have, which was really nice to see, an outpouring of support of people who want to come physically.
So it devastated Central Texas, specifically Kerr County. This is Hunt, Texas, and it's showing you a map of the Guadalupe River. Camp Mystic was down here at this fork off in the Guadalupe River, and Kerrville is over here. And the Guadalupe River looks massive.
I think the current word is to just keep back for now. We actually have an overwhelming swell of volunteers to where it's actually becoming an issue getting emergency response vehicles in and out of areas quickly. The biggest thing over the coming days is going to be financial support, resources, things like that to get money to where it needs to go. I think the one that we're telling people now that you always have to be careful with this stuff because there's always people that pop up and you don't really know if the money is getting where it needs to go.
Yeah, please be very careful if you donate to organizations to help these victims. If you feel inclined to do so, please make sure that you've checked the sources. You can check the sources with the news. You can call the area down there and ask them where you could send money to directly or what kind of supplies they need off Amazon. That was something we did with the people of North Carolina. FEMA, I don't know if I think they take donations.
The one we're told is pretty safe right now is communityfoundation.net. That's where we're trying to push people to now.
Brandon, thank you for joining us and doing all you can to help your fellow Texas residents.
Thank you guys so much. And realistically, we're just the volunteers. We get to go home and sleep in our own beds at the end of the night. There's a lot of first responders out here who don't get to do that. So those guys are the ones we need to lift up.
Good point. Brandon, thank you.
Thank you.
And you can join Fox's support of the recovery efforts following these devastating floods by going to...
Okay, so I was able to get the Community Foundation link. I do believe that's the right one. I did just type it into Google. It is communityfoundation.net, which is what he said. And I will also go ahead and put it in the description box. But there is that link if anybody would like to donate. Hey, Orange, good to see you. It is very sad.
Go.fox/TX flood relief. Your donations will support the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country's relief and rebuilding efforts. Meanwhile, agencies across Texas are flocking to the zones hit hard by the deadly floods. Our next guest is the commissioner of the Agriculture Department, who is one of those agencies engaged with recovery efforts happening right now. Stay with us.
And federal agencies across Texas are jumping in to help ramp up those search efforts for the missing after those deadly flash floods.
The Texas Department of Agriculture is one of those agencies engaged in the response effort, and their commissioner, Sid Miller, joins us now. Commissioner Miller, thank you so much for joining us. We are so sorry for everything that is happening in your great state of Texas. But, you know, this storm hit cattle country, which means that the economic impact will be devastating. Tell us about what ranchers are facing right now.
Well, we've lost hundreds of miles of fencing, you know, barns, all kinds of buildings, structures.
The Salvation Army is also a good place to donate. And you can see right there is the phone number, 1-800-SAL-ARMY, or you can go to helpsalvationarmy.org.
We found livestock, cattle in the tops of trees.
Oh, my God.
We haven't, you know, we're still so focused on search and rescue of the over 40 people that are still unaccounted for that we haven't even, you know, had time to start calculating the agriculture loss. But it's very devastating. To try to put this in perspective, within a 24-hour period, there was enough water came down the Guadalupe River through Kerrville that would equal the water going through Niagara Falls in a month and a half.
Wow. Oh, my God. So that goes back to what Tom and Mike have been telling us. Michael, I apologize. I'm going to replay that so you can hear that again, and we can take a moment to just take in the gravity of that, because that is astonishing.
very devastating. To try to put this in perspective, within a 24-hour period, there was enough water came down the Guadalupe River through Kerrville that would equal the water going through Niagara Falls in a month and a half. You ever been?
So within 24 hours, again, enough water to the amount of water that came through the Guadalupe River in a 24-hour period is the same amount of water that comes out of Niagara Falls in a month and a half. A month, not even a day, not a week, not 2 weeks, a month and a half. That amount of water is what came through in 24 hours. And I'm going to see if I can pull up a video of that real quick, just so you get an idea of what it is like, even just per minute or per second. I'm going to mute it. That is Niagara Falls, and you can see all of the water. This is just seconds. So you take all of this water over a month and a half time period, and that's what came through in 24 hours, y'all. Oh my God. I remember that, Michael. I know. Tom, I'm worried about the cows too, because they didn't know what was coming either. So that's just really scary and sad. A month and a half. My God. In 24 hours. Jesus.
Been to Niagara Falls, you can't even get your head around, what that is. It's 26-foot wall of water at 3 a.m. in the morning, and caught everybody off guard. We still have over 40 people missing. With our death count is up to 82 people in those 21 counties down there. It probably
Hey, Revival. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your gardening.
Go over 100, unfortunately, because we still have over 40 people missing. My agency is part of the emergency management response. I have a fund called the Star Fund, which we raise money from individuals and private entities. We get that back out to the farmers and ranchers to cover things that crop insurance doesn't cover. Mostly fencing and building and burying dead animals, things like that. People want to donate to that, they can go to my website, texasagriculture.gov. We have a hay and feed hotline. If people want to donate hay and feed, you can go to that same texasagriculture.gov or call 5.
So that is texasagriculture.gov. And I would trust that website if you want to donate to ranchers and try to help them with what they've got going on as far as livestock fencing and things like that.
512-787-9966. Most importantly of all, 3 years ago, I instituted a crisis hotline, a mental health hotline, a suicide hotline. It's called Agri-Stress. And I'm opening up that to any and every Texan, that's going through this mental anguish, that have lost loved ones or have loved ones that haven't been found or lost property. That number is 833-897-2474. 833-897-2474. So it's a very devastating flood. All hands on deck. We've been going 24/7 ever since it first hit. We're working with the governor, FEMA, local authorities, local sheriff's departments. We've got organizations coming in to feed people. My organization, we're in charge of the nutrition program. So we set up shelters for people. I'll be the one that goes in and make sure that everyone's fed and taken care of there.
I think it's really important that they did have the unaliving hotline just for people who have lost everything. I mean, could you imagine, especially being a rancher, you've lost all of your sources of income, your home, your livestock. I mean, cattle out there. I mean, that's a way of life. I did drop their links in the description box as well. I am aware, Tom, and it's really sad. I'm praying that they are. I'm laying in. Okay, I think that was not meant to be here, but Good to see you, Smoky Mountain. I figured. Okay.
You know, Sid, I certainly hope that people take advantage of that hotline because
Hey,
it is
Vera.
absolutely needed in situations like this. You know, when you talk about the economic impact, obviously the loss of life is top tier and that supersedes everything. But it's not lost on anyone that the loss of livelihood is something that needs to be accounted for. When we talk about the economic impact of this, is this going to be just statewide or is this going to be nationwide?
Well, we have 254 counties in Texas, and right now this is isolated.
So this was the 4th at 1727. Let me see what time that was. Because remember, it came through at like 3 o'clock in the morning. $5:27 p.m. So the video that we've seen where it shows the people stopping at the river and the river rising is 5:27 p.m. on the 4th, and that was in Kingsland, Texas. It came through where the campers were at around 3 o'clock in the morning, if I'm understanding correctly. I could be wrong on that, so don't take that to the bank. I think it was very early morning hours, and everybody was basically asleep.
21 counties, so about 10% of the state. But it could very well expand because we're still under flash flood warnings, much of the state. So we hopeful it doesn't expand, but it's certainly possible that it could. Very devastating in human life and property, but also agriculture has been disrupted. We've lost farm to market roads, bridges, utilities. We're out of power. Irrigation systems have been wiped out. Crops are gone. Crops are underwater. Missing livestock. It's tractors underwater. Implements washed away. You name it. It's happening in those 21 counties.
Are you worried about the storm that's expected today and tomorrow, next 24, 48 hours? I mean, what could that look like? What could that do to your state?
Well, of course. And number one, we still have over 40 people unaccounted for, so it's search and rescue right now. We're assuming that they're still alive, and so that's our mission right now. Our sole focus is to rescue people. Hopefully, we can find more that have survived. More flash flooding, more rain will hamper those efforts. So.
Look at this man walking. I mean, you can see how high the water is by the campers. This man is walking through this water that's almost up to his neck, holding his dog, getting his dog out. My God. This was in Georgetown, Texas on Saturday.
But we're going to be prepared. We're expecting it now. This caught us off guard at 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning. When everyone was asleep, very little warning time. The legislature is going to come back, and we're going to fix that problem. We have a better alert system, not just for flooding, but for any type of emergency.
What do you think that alert system will look like? Real quick, final question to you.
Well, it'll be a lot like an Amber Alert on your phone, where your phone will go off. The problem is people silence their phones at night, where they don't ring and don't go off. So we've got to overcome that somehow, to let this emergency management system work, even though you have your phone on sleep mode. So, but we'll get there. We have the technology to make that happen. Again, three things you can help with: the STAR Fund, TexasAgriculture.gov, the Hay and Feed Hotline, and the Agri-Stress Network. Those are all at TexasAgriculture.gov.
All right, very good. Texas Agriculture Commissioner.
And I did share that in the description box. I've got the link that Brandon Herrera shared at the top of the comment section. This is the article that Abella sent me, and it says, watch, time lapse shows how suddenly Texas floodwaters rose. At least 91 people have been confirmed deceased. Another 41 are still missing following the flash floods in central Texas on Friday. Most of the fatalities were in Carr County, where a Riverside Christian girls camp was deluged, claiming the lives of a number of children and leaving others missing. Footage from the 4th of July shows how the water level of the Llano River in Kingsland, Texas, rapidly increased. So this is a 44-second video. That is not. That's an advertisement that, of course, they've got to have for Turkagian. Go Turkey.com. Okay. Okay, so I mean, that's just showing 4 seconds. I know it's sped up, but, like, you can see how it's rising. That's real time. They're walking normal. Do you see how quick that's coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Hunter, come back further.
Oh, my God. Okay, so this part is sped up, but then when it shows them standing on the road and walking backwards, that's real time because they're walking at a normal rate, right? So this is sped up, but again, when it flips to where it's showing behind the people that are standing right here on the roadway and they're walking backwards, that's how fast it rose in real time. And then think about that happening at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and not being aware because you're asleep. That's sped up. This is not. Oh my God.
Yeah. Hunter, come back further.
Lord of mercy. Wow. That is so scary. Okay, hold on. I've got a couple of articles. This article, if I get it pulled up, it's titled A Father Who Died Saving His Family Children at Summer Camp, A Loving Grandmother, The Faces of the Texas Flooding Tragedy. And there's a photo. It says torrential rains caused a catastrophic flood that killed dozens of people as it swept through south central Texas. Julian Ryan's final words to his mother as floodwaters quickly engulfed their trailer were simply, I love you. He made a split-second decision to thrust his arm through a window to help his fiancee and 2 young kids and mom escape the catastrophic flooding tearing through Carr County, Texas, swallowing everything in its path. That last ditch effort, an act of bravery, ultimately cost him his life. The glass had cut an artery in his arm. Ryan's mother held him as he bled and took his last breath. His sister Connie told CNN, "He went out a hero," Salas said. In the pitch black storm lashed hours before dawn on Friday, surging floodwaters unexpectedly ravaged the region, including a campsite filled with sleeping children. 4 months worth of rain fell in just hours, and sorry, I'm having trouble. And the nearby Guadalupe River rose over 20 feet, sweeping homes, cars, campers, and cabins downstream. When the sunrise came and the storm softened, the full weight of the disaster came into view. Hundreds were missing, including over 24 girls at summer camp, and as minutes stretched into hours, hope gave way to grief. At least 89 people, including 28 children, were killed in the catastrophic Texas floods, and the death toll continues to rise, according to local officials. Ryan's body wasn't recovered until the waters receded, according to CNN affiliate. Now, Ryan's family and their heartbroken Texas community are reckoning with the depth of the tragedy and searching for answers. Here's what we know about the victims. I've seen a picture of that family, and I want to show it to you guys if I can find it again. A father of two and his final heroic act. It had been an exhausting shift for Ryan. The 27-year-old dishwasher had finished working at a local restaurant before returning to his Ingram, Texas home, the New York Times reported. He was finally asleep when surging floodwaters crashed through their trailer home. In a matter of seconds, their front door gave way, slammed open by the power of the river. Ryan and his fiancee, with water rising to their chest, placed their 13-month-old and 6-year-old on the mattress, which were floating, to keep them above the rising flood. But the water kept rising. The bedroom door, sealed tight by the pressure on the other side, wouldn't budge. And in those terrifying moments, Ryan shattered a window in a final attempt to get his family out. The glass tore into his arm, leaving him critically injured. His fiancee, Christina Wilson, said. She added, the glass almost cut his arm clean off. After multiple calls to 911 went unanswered, Ryan looked at them, she said, and told them, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it, and I love y'all. His sister, who lived just steps away from him, also lost her home, told CNN there was no warning and no time to act. A flash flood emergency warning was issued for Carr County at 4:03 a.m., about an hour before the raging Guadalupe River burst from its banks. The late night warnings limited who could see them and how quickly they could move to higher ground. We have no time to physically save ourselves, Salas said. Our last words were, I'm scared, she said, and he said, me too. The family's overwhelmed with grief and struggling to cope, Salas says, especially the mother who was there for Ryan's final moments and saw him take his last breath. While they were literally panicking and about to drown, my mother was still holding up her son, and he looked at her and said, I love you, Salas said. So my mom has that heartbreak of looking at her son and telling him goodbye, holding him while he took his last breath. Salas said the family feels like they're trapped in a nightmare and they can't wake up from it. A reality where Ryan will never walk through the door again and be that funny person that he is. I want to show y'all a picture of them before we go on. No, this is not it. Hold on. I saw a picture on Facebook of him. So this is Ryan. And there's photos of his family somewhere. Of course, they got to do 500,000 ads, which really irritates me, especially when you're talking about something like this. And it's going to jump. All right, I'm going to work on finding a picture of him, but until then, you saw the one picture of him, but there's one that shows his family and his children. For now, we'll continue reading. Okay. Now we're at Camp Mystic Campers. So this picture says family of Camp Mystic camper Renee SMAJSTRLA tells CNN that she has passed away. So this is Renee, who was at the camp. This is Janie Hunt. Says at Camp Mystic, a Christian all-girls camp along the bank of the Guadalupe River that hosts about 750 kids, the massive flooding seemed to have ripped the wall off of at least one building and left a cabin covered in dirt and mud, with girls' mattresses strewn across the floor. Photos of the devastation show. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the camp was horrendously ravaged. He was shocked, he said, and the rushing water reached the top of the cabins. A total of 27 campers and counselors are dead, the camp announced Monday. 10 campers and one counselor who were at the facility are still missing, Carr County Sheriff said. Renee, the 8-year-old Camp Mystic camper who went missing during the torrential flooding in Carr County, Texas, has died. Her family confirmed to CNN. It's truly devastating. Sean, her uncle, told CNN. She is his niece, or he said his niece was recovered on Friday. The mother, I apologize. Hold on just a second. Had to clear my throat. The mother of missing Camp Mystic camper Janie Hunt, 9, told CNN in a message Saturday morning her daughter had passed away. After the catastrophic flooding hit Kerr County in Texas Friday, Ann Hunt told CNN, "We are just praying for her return." The families of Sarah Marsh and Lilia Bonner, 2 girls who had gone missing from Camp Mystic Friday morning, confirmed to CNN both died. In a post on Facebook, Alabama Senator Katie Britt said she was heartbroken over the loss of Sarah Marsh. "We are keeping her family in our thoughts and prayers during this unimaginable time," Britt said. "In the midst of our unimaginable grief, we ask for privacy and are unable to confirm any details at this time," the Bonner family said in a statement. "We ache with all who loved her and are praying endlessly for the others to be spared from this tragic loss." This is 13-year-old and 11-year-old sisters. Blair and Brooke Harbor's father has confirmed to CNN that the sisters are dead. Blair, to the left, and Brooke, to the right, went missing during the catastrophic flooding in Carr County, Texas. The Harbor's father confirmed to CNN on Saturday his daughters had died. Blair was a gifted student and had a gorgeous, kind heart, RJ Harbor said. Brooke was the light in any room. People gravitated to her, and she made them laugh and enjoy the moment. Her parents, Charlie and Mike Harbor, are still missing, but he believes the couple is also deceased. This is the girls' camp director. Heart o' the Hills co-owner Jane Ragsdale was the heart and soul of the camp. Jane Ragsdale was the heart of Heart o' the Hills, another all-girls camp in Hunt, Texas, according to the camp's website. The co-owner and camp director, Ragsdale, died during the floods. She had influenced countless lives and was the definition of strong and powerful, the camp said. The camp set alongside the Guadalupe River was not in session at the time of the flooding, and most of those who were on camp at the time have been accounted for and are on high ground, according to an announcement from the camp. And a video last month shows Ragdale playing the guitar and singing with campers. She sings a lot. Let there always be a song. "When you sing, you say life is good today," she sings, "so keep singing till we meet again." High school soccer coach and his wife, Renee and Paula Zuckner. I'm sorry. Renee Zuckner was not just a soccer coach. The head coach of the Tybee High School boys soccer team was a mentor, teacher, and role model, the team said on Facebook. They added they were mourning the loss of our leader and inspiration. Zuckner died in this holiday's weekend's flooding tragedy, his niece told CNN. Mackenzie Zuckner said her father identified her uncle's body Saturday evening. Paula Zuckner, Reese's wife, also died, according to the soccer team statement and a post by Renee Zuckner's cousin, Haley Furlow. The couple's 2 children remain unaccounted for. A loving grandmother. Texas flood victim Dr. Catherine adds, living a fulfilling life cut far too short, her daughter Victoria adds told CNN. Dr. Catherine adds, another victim of the floods, lived a fulfilling life cut far too short, her daughter Victoria told CNN in a family statement. She was an incredible wife, daughter, mother, grandmother, and person who had spent her life helping kids, the statement continued. Adds assisted children in the foster care system in her early career and continued on as a psychologist and a college professor, her daughter told CNN. Trying to figure out our lives without her is a possibility we had never planned to face, and we will always miss her. And that's the end of this article. I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of the videos that we have of the Camp Mystic stuff. And again, I mean, all of this
and unimaginable.
It's going to be very hard to hear. I don't know how else I can say that. Let me start with this one.
8:36 is the time. Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. My goodness, take a look at the devastation out in Kerr County, Texas. We are following some breaking news on this Monday morning as it relates to the death toll of these Texas floods. I want you to take a look at the very latest information from Fox News. Transitioning your screen, it says breaking. Camp Mystic says it's mourning the loss of 27 campers, counselors in Texas flooding. Also working with the Associated Press this morning, as they say, Camp Mystic says it's grieving the loss of 27 campers and counselors as the search continues this Monday for victims of catastrophic Texas flooding over the 4th of July holiday weekend. I do want to transition the screen back to give you this live aerial view as I share with you the latest information. The statement just given adds another layer of heartbreak to the devastating flooding that sent a wall of water through the century-old summer camp.
Indy, be careful, and I hope everybody's okay. I remember going to summer camp as a kid. Exactly. Hey, Max, good to see you. Yeah, trigger warning. Yes, Vero, it happened between like 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Nobody saw it coming, and even though, I mean, they could have sent out warnings, and I think they did, everybody was asleep, so nobody knew.
With more rain on the way, the risk of life-threatening flooding is still high in central Texas this Monday, even as crews search urgently for the missing following a holiday weekend deluge that killed more than 80 people. Officials saying the death toll is sure to continue to rise. We're also learning from AP that residents of Kerr County, they are starting to clear mud and salvage what they can from their demolished properties as they recount harrowing escapes from rapidly rising floodwaters dating back to late Friday. We're also learning that rescuers, they continue to maneuver through challenging terrain filled with snakes as they continue their search for the missing, including those from Camp Mystic, an all-girls summer camp that sustained massive damage. Sunday afternoon, more than 2 days after the floods tore through the camp, authorities saying that some of the girls and a counselor had still not been found. But again, getting back to this updated information, this breaking news, Camp Mystic saying it's mourning the loss of now 27 campers and counselors in this Texas flooding. As we are following this latest information, I want to share with you this statement from Camp Mystic on their website. Take a good look there. They say, quote, "Our hearts are broken alongside our families that are enduring this unimaginable tragedy. We are praying for them constantly." They go on to say, quote, "We have been in communication with local and state authorities who are tirelessly deploying extensive resources to search for our missing girls. We are deeply grateful for the outpouring of support from community, first responders, and officials at every level. We ask for your continued prayers, respect, and privacy for each of our families affected." They conclude the statement by saying, quote, "May the Lord continue to wrap his presence around all of us." So following the very latest from Camp Mystic this morning, as they mourn the loss of 27 campers and counselors, we'll continue to follow the very latest information, and you can rely on Live Now from Fox to share it with you in real time.
So that was some information about Camp Mystic. Before we go over there, I did want to show you the photos of Ryan and his family. This man, as I just read, lost his life saving his family. There he is with his fiance and his children. As I read, he busted out a window. Says 27-year-old Julian Ryan gave his life to save his family from the devastating flooding, nearly severing his arm clean off in the process. With the water pouring into their mobile home and his 6-year-old and 13-month-old floating on a mattress, unable to get out of the bedroom door, Julian decided to punch through the bedroom window to get the family out. He cut his main artery in the process and bled out before help arrived. before help arrived. His last words were, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it. I love y'all." And there's another picture of him. I did do a search, and when I went on X, it did show me some of the heroes. So this reads, "These brave young Mexican women are heroes in Texas. Sylvania Garza Valdez and Maria Paula Zargate, both 19 years old, rescued 20 girls trapped by the flooding of the Guadalupe River." And here's a picture of them. I wish you would move this. Thank you. I want to see their face. I appreciate that. So they rescued 20 girls at 19 years old. 19 and 20. No, both 19 years old rescued 20 girls. I don't know if I sent. This man is still missing. His dog was found deceased 30 foot up in a tree. His name is William Bill Houston. His dog Sage. They were at HTR campgrounds. The remains for Sage have been found 7 miles downriver. Bill is still unaccounted for. There's the photo of the woman, and a young girl has been found alive after flooding dragged her 12 miles in Texas Hill Country. This warrior was able to grab on a tree and wait for first responders. And there she is. These responders are insanely tough, tip of the spear, trained for moments and tragedies just like these in Texas, just like the Texas flooding. There's some of the first responders. Texas game wardens are there conducting rescues. So this is Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin saved 165 people from flooding in Texas. This is one of the ones I saw earlier. He said, "Honestly, I'm mostly just a dude. I'm just doing a job. This is what I signed up for." And that's him. He saved 165 people. He's a Coast Guard rescue swimmer. At least 2 of the girls missing from Camp Mystic after the flooding in Texas have been rescued. And there's a picture of them riding in the helicopter. I'm back here now checking what y'all are saying. Yeah, 12 miles. That is amazing. For her to be able to float 12 miles downstream or, survive through that and grab onto a tree. I saw one more picture of some of the heroes. Many girls are still missing from Camp Mystic. These girls are rescued and waiting at fire station if anyone knows their families. I'm sure they are trying to contact family, but sharing here just in case word of mouth moves faster. So there they are.
Holy shit, this is crazy. Me, wow.
Hi, in my opinion. Or IMO.
Like, get me the hell out of here. Look at that little piece of
There's Blair and Brook Harbor that we talked about in the article. They're confirmed deceased. Oh my God. Our first responders that are in Tejas right now are heroes. They're rescuing animals that got lost in the flash flooding in the hill country in Texas. Hill country in Texas. The people that are sacrificing their time, put all their effort into rescuing people and animals. I'm going to start this over. This shows them rescuing the animals. I'm going to have to mute it though. There's the horses. Thank God they were rescued. That's the man we saw carrying the dog. That's a deer, I do believe. It's a horse. Another horse. Lots of horses. I'm glad they got them out though. That always hurts me because those animals are locked up in pens and stalls and things, and when things come through like that, I mean, you can't get out there and unlock the gates. I mean, I always joke, and I probably shouldn't, when there's a tornado warning comes through, my, landlord will text me, and, I'm always like, "Alright, if anything happens, I'll send the kids to the shop, and I'll be the one that's running when the tornado sweeps through holding geese and chickens and goats, trying to bring them in." I always worry about the animals. Hey, Southern, good to see you. Horses can swim pretty well. Thank God for that. Alright. Distraught Texan father asks for prayers and miracles for my baby girl, Kelly Ann, who is a mystic camper unaccounted for. She's absolutely fearless. He's asking for prayers for her. There was one man that it showed too. That I was looking for. This is the girl from Alabama, Sarah Marsh, who was confirmed deceased. All right. So we're going to talk about the Camp Mystic children. I know. So little. God almighty. All right, this one's probably going to be hard to hear.
Next day, we know this family, the couple, were missing in their 70s, and waited for the road to clear. On the 5th, we came and we searched about 10 miles. We found 2 bodies, a little girl and a little boy, and then we finally came up here and we found the dad that we were looking for. And today we came back because we haven't found the wife. We believe she's still here in the area. And so we had a great group of people show up, about 40 to 50 volunteers, just looking through rummage and digging up as much as we can.
So these are volunteers that are going and just digging through things with equipment, trying to find bodies. I couldn't imagine. I'm crying just reading about the father and the children. I could not imagine. If I was able to, I would be there, um, helping to search. If I had the ability to be there, I would be there and I would deal with it, but I couldn't imagine. I mean, I don't think anybody could until you actually been through it, honestly.
We knew that they weren't really searching this way past Mystic, because I know we need to help those girls, but we were able to find him. So we were hopeful we would be able to find her. It turns out it's very difficult. It seems like it's getting more and more tedious to find. We were focused where we found the husband, Mr. Jose Olvera, thinking because they were holding hands when they got washed away. And we focused there and trying to get as closest to the body as we could, but we just started kind of going that way. And then we found him next to the house where he lived, just 25, 50 feet in the creek.
Oh, bad.
It's just been so sad because you first see the post and it's about 30 people that are missing, and then it's like people are missing and we don't even know, and all of a sudden they're found, and families and kids, and it's like never ending. You scroll through Facebook and the count is going up, and I don't know, and we're just hoping people can find their loved ones so they can have some rest and relief, because it's the unknown is what's killing people.
She appears to be also pregnant out there searching like that. I don't know if she is or not. I want to be very careful, but that does appear to be very pregnant and not. Wow. Could you imagine doing all this and finding children deceased while you're pregnant?
I've driven down from Hunt, and it's the most horrific. As soon as we saw how horrible it was, we kind of knew there weren't going to be survivors. It's just been difficult. It's really hard to go through the river and trying to find anything. The guys have fallen here and there. We're using backhoe to shake up the trees, see if anybody's stuck up there, but it's been very difficult.
Ollie, Billy boy, you want to hold on to it? The father was found yesterday. The team found 2 kids too, downstream, and so we're just scouting the area, both sides of the riverbed. Found an article of clothing from the mother, and we were tracking and tracing opposite sides of the riverbed.
I think these are their search dogs, but he was wearing a hat that said no dogs left behind, so they might be going in just to find the dogs. These appear to be search dogs, though. A husky right there. I think that's a husky. It's beautiful.
Hello. So I have 8 dogs with me today. Belgian Malinois. We have 1 husky too. The husky is incredible with finding carcasses, and the Belgian Malinois. These guys can traverse any terrain. Yeah, these guys are always looking for something alive, dead, or. Yeah, at this point, it's unfortunately it's recovery. I believe it's recovery, not rescue. Go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, Tiffany. Wash up. Let's go. Let's go, Tiffany. All right.
when there's trees down like that, it's hard, to know. Like, you have to lift all that up, and there's debris and all kinds of things. I mean, she even referenced shaking the trees to see if anybody was up in the trees, a body, obviously, because, if they were alive, they would say something. That water would have carried those big, heavy rocks pretty quickly downstream, so I imagine you would have to move those rocks and everything. Oh my goodness. My God. It's a mattress way up in a tree. Sorry, that's a mattress way up in a tree. Way up.
$836.
The parents out there who are watching, who are unsure because they're just unsure. But the parents who got calls from Camp Mystic where they said your daughter is not accountable at this point or is not accounted for at this point, I want all of you to know.
I apologize. I was muted. This is a short clip about specifically about Camp Mystic, and I'm going to go into images and things like that of Camp Mystic.
We will do everything humanly possible 24/7, looking at every tree, turning over every rock, whatever it takes. If your child is one of those truly missing and not just out of touch, to find your daughter. We will do everything humanly possible to find your daughter or son. And we say daughter because Camp Mystic is a girls' camp. And that's where we've had a number unaccounted for. 20 some was the last count before I came out. And again, that could change while we were sitting here. Make no mistake, we will do everything possible. The 500 people that are in the field are looking for your daughter. Questions?
I'm glad that he put that out. All right. So we do have some stuff from the victims and some stuff about the owners. Wanted to show you this.
Wait, what they say? Oh my god! Oh my gosh. Look at those cars.
So this is titled Camp Mystic Survivors Sing on Bus During Evacuation While Passing Scenes of Texas Flooding Damage.
Is that like oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god! Yo, I was literally gonna park my car right there and Cassie.
Oh my god. Oh my god. My car is like up there, my Jeep.
No, the cars up there are fine.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna look crazy.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh my god.
That car's upside down.
Dude. Guys, look. Do you think they're gonna pay for the cars?
The insurance. It's the insurance. It's insurance.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Look. Oh my god.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, that's just a little scary. Okay.
That's
okay.
crazy.
We're okay.
Look at the drone.
That's how they're finding people. That is how they're finding people.
That's how they're finding, like, that's crazy.
It's fresh like spring. We want to pass it on. Reach for you, my friend. This happiness that I found. Can't depend on it. It matters not where you're bound. I'll shout it from the mountain tops. Praise God, I want my world to know.
So these are the survivors from the camp singing.
Word of love has come to me. I want to pass it on. I'll shout it from the mountain tops. Praise God, I want my world to know. The Lord of love has come to me. I want to pass it on.
Oh my god.
Pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Oh my god.
Every man is you. Thy hand will prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. The kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto.
I mean, please remember that, like, these girls are singing in this bus as they're leaving the camp and knowing that not everybody made it out. Like, counselors are dead, the founder of the camp is dead, girls are dead, and they're still singing on the bus.
Alleluia, alleluia. We shall not live by bread, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Alleluia.
Bye. If I can search an email, I'm actually gonna burst out laughing. I might cry. I know. I'm trying so hard not to cry.
Have you ever been to IOU?
Okay, good. So I won't bring Zyrtec next year. Cassie's got that covered for me. Thank you.
Once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
All right, I can't do that anymore. We're gonna listen to some of the parents talking. Oh, I did want to show y'all this.
For nearly a century, Camp Mystic has been a safe haven for young girls who spent summers there, forging friendships that last a lifetime. But early Friday morning, the idyllic retreat was ravaged by torrential rain and raging floodwaters that rose 30 feet in a single hour. Heroic counselors and staff members jumped into action, saving more than 700 campers caught in the storm. The camp's director, Dick Eastland, died while trying to save girls from the rising waters. Staff member Brooke Beard says she managed to escape through a cabin window as waist-high water rushed in.
Girls were looking for their sisters and their cousins, and there was a lot of tears.
Brooke says in those moments, the camp counselors stepped up to help anyone they could.
So many lives were saved because of 18-year-olds.
My God. Okay.
Kerr County, Texas devastated and 82 people dead after the state's catastrophic flooding.
President Trump signing a major disaster declaration for the county yesterday. This, as DHS Secretary Noem says, the flood exposes a neglected weather alert system.
Let's bring in the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Madam Secretary, can you give us a little lay of the land?
I apologize. Kristi Noem is not one of the camp. That's not who I thought it was. I don't want to go political. Okay, hold on.
This is the first time Camp Mystic is releasing a statement with a number of deaths. And in this statement, Camp Mystic says it is grieving the loss of 27 campers and counselors following the catastrophic flooding on the Guadalupe River. The statement goes on to say, our hearts are broken alongside our families that are enduring this unimaginable tragedy. We are praying for them constantly. We have been in communication with local and state authorities who are tirelessly deploying extensive resources to search for our missing girls. We are deeply grateful for the outpouring of support from community, first responders, and officials at every level. We ask for your continued prayers, respect, and privacy for each of our families affected. May the Lord continue to wrap his presence around all of us. I just can't stop thinking that it was just a little over a week ago that parents dropped their young children off to have the best 4 weeks of their life at Camp Mystic, a camp I attended 30 years ago. And now some of those same parents are going to the local funeral home to potentially identify their child. It's just beyond comprehension, the heartbreak here. You feel it all around.
We lost everything.
That's very sad. My God.
And now we lost it again. Tales of survival and heartbreak across large swaths of central Texas. By air, by land, rescues and recoveries continue into day 3.
We've also seen camp workers, families who are trying to clear out some of these cabins over my other shoulder.
Fox 4 reports from...
Did you guys see how... Hold on. So you see how high up those cabins are and all the windows open. I mean, the roof is like caved in a little bit. Them cabins were covered very quickly with water.
Fox 4 reports from inside the calamity, getting our own look today at Camp Mystic's devastation, where dozens of children were swept away, including some from North Texas.
It's not going to take the same amount of rain that caused this damage to make the current water levels rise up, right? Because the ground is already saturated.
Now, with even more rain falling across the waterlogged region, new fears in new communities as water levels rise once again. Plus, average Americans answering the pleas for help, donating their time and their money to help neighbors in need.
People across our community, across our state, across the world have been responding to that request.
Tonight with an update on the numbers coming out of Central Texas. At least 79 people are dead at this hour across the region due to the catastrophic flooding. Rescue efforts still underway with a known 41 still missing, a number that could actually be much higher, according to authorities. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Casey.
And that number is going to continue to rise. I mean, it's just going to get bigger. So this is going to talk about Camp Mystic co-owner Richard Dick Eastland.
As we are following some sad breaking news right now, I did want to share this post with you from Representative August Pfluger. He is saying that Camp Mystic's co-owner Dick Eastland has died due to the flooding here, saying he sacrificed his life to save the girls attending the camp, which was a Riverside Christian camp for girls in Hunt, Texas. Here's what this quote says. It says, Camp Mystic's Dick Eastland no doubt gave his life attempting to save his campers. For decades, he and his wife, Tweety, poured his life into loving and developing girls and women of character. Thank you, Mr. Eastland. We love you and miss you. Now,
you asked, where does the Guadalupe River dump into? It dumps into the San Antonio Bay, which is situated along the state's coast on the Gulf of Mexico, or the Gulf of America, as it has been renamed. Let me pull that article back up. Sorry, I'm not talking, y'all. I apologize. I don't, there's no words.
According to this latest news conference we did get here, 11 girls and 1 counselor from Camp Mystic are still missing. Governor Greg Abbott toured the camp just yesterday with rescue crews, and he vowed that authorities will work around the clock to find the missing girls and others. The camp was established in 1926. It grew so popular over the following decades that families are now encouraged to put prospective campers on the wait list for years in advance. So again, I did want to share this post with you here from Representative August Pfluger. The sad news that the Camp Mystic co-owner dead while trying to save these girls. And I did want to give you a live look right now at this live look right near the camp there in Kerrville, as we do still see the flooding there that is occurring. We did just get several news conferences in here. We are still awaiting to see when this next one will be. In just a matter of moments here, we're also going to be checking in with Fox Weather live in Ingram, Texas. That's just about 10 minutes away from Kerrville, to give us the latest on what this all looks like this morning today here, as we do continue to follow all of this.
Last week, 700 and
I wanted to see the picture specifically. So I think this one's talking about, Camp Mystic specifically.
50 girls were having fun at Camp Mystic this morning.
I'm going to start that over. Hey, a name here. Good to see you. Hard not to get political Yeah, I get it. 8 to 13, maybe younger and older.
I'm Jacob Rascone, live in Kerrville. Last week, 750 girls were having fun at Camp Mystic. This morning, just moments ago, the devastating update from Camp Mystic that 27 total, including counselors and girls,
Oh
are
my God.
confirmed dead, did not survive the devastating flooding. In a brief statement that they posted from Camp Mystic, once again, they say our hearts are broken alongside families who are enduring this unimaginable tragedy. We're praying for them constantly. They go on to say they've been in
I mean, there you can see how, okay, for their bags and all of their things to be caught in the tree like that, and their mattresses out here like this, I mean, it would make me think that the waters came in very quickly, and we saw how damaged their cabins were.
communication with local and state authorities, tirelessly deploying extensive resources to search for those missing. They say they are deeply grateful for the outpouring of support from community, first responders, and officials at every level. For the first time, we're able to be live here right at the level of the Guadalupe. Behind me, you can see just how fast it's still moving after the historic flooding from Friday morning. You're seeing the bent trees, the broken trees, the debris off in the distance, including tarps and blankets, and we've seen clothing and roofs from tiles. There's a tank lodged there earlier on Friday. The river so ferocious that entire cabins and RVs and cars and homes were carried away. The number of dead officially is above 80. The next official update from investigators will come at 10 a.m. The number of rescued was up to 850 or so.
I'm glad that they put that in there. So 850 or more have been rescued. 80 confirmed deceased.
And so, Steph, as we know that we'll be live here all morning long and continuing into tomorrow, we know that it's impossible really to describe the impact, which will be felt for years and years to come. Steph, over to you.
Yeah, Jacob.
All right. The rest of this is just them talking. This is going to show Camp Mystic before and after the flood. It says, last week, about 750 girls were having fun playing games at Camp Mystic in Central Texas. There you can see the red and blue. Now several are missing after deadly flash floods swept through the all-girls Christian camp on Friday. I want y'all to hear these girls singing. I mean, I really just feel like that's important to know that even though all this is going on, those that were saved are still singing and praising the Lord.
Has come to me, I want to pass it on. I'll shout it from the mountain tops. Praise God, I want my world to know.
I'm going to mute it again. The camp is located along the Guadalupe River, parts of which rose by more than 29 feet. You can see there how close it is. I mean, it's right there. And imagine that raising by 29 feet in 45 minutes. There's the cabins. Some of the missing were staying in low-lying cabins less than 500 feet from the riverbank. There's the cabins that we saw, and then there's the river. There's pictures inside the cabins of the windows broken, all of their stuffed animals, their clothes, their mattresses. Family members and volunteers joined rescuers in search for the victims. And you saw the way he was just pulling those mattresses out. That's because their bodies could be lying under the mattresses where they never even woke up. A mom and her 2 daughters attending, her 9-year-old, it was her first year, her 12-year-old, her 5th year going, both were saved. Thank God. Hmm. Okay, so this is I do have a camper who survived and a counselor opens up about tragic flooding in cabins. So we'll listen to the counselor first.
Is a counselor at Camp Mystic. Thank you for being here today. And Holly Kate, your presence to help us all understand what happened is super important. So I appreciate you coming on and your bravery, and you're a beautiful young woman. Tell us what it was like when you realized what was happening.
So I was with my campers in the middle of the night. It was about 1:30 in the morning. And rain just kind of started coming through our windows. I woke my girls up, told them to close the windows, and then the power just went out. All the fans turned off. Running water didn't work. And in the morning, they gathered all the counselors who were at Cypress Lake, and they told us that two of the cabins with the 7-year-old girls were wiped away. And
so when you go to summer camp, they separate the girls into different groups, right? So like when she says 2 of the cabins with the 7-year-old girls was wiped away, that means the 7-year-olds were in that cabin. 7-year-olds, 2 cabins full of 7-year-olds got wiped away. Orange Rose said, sorry, I missed the beginning. I know it had been raining there, etc., but no one saw this coming at all. No, they didn't. It happened very quickly. There were warnings sent out to the phones, but the warnings were sent at like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And so everybody was asleep. And by the time they wake up, they're bombarded with all this water. They said the amount of water that came through in a 24-hour period is the same amount of water that goes through the Niagara Falls in a month and a half. A month and a half of water at the Niagara Falls is the amount of water that came through in a 24-hour period.
that all these girls were missing, and we went back to our cabins and, tried to keep up good spirits with these young girls.
Holly Kate, I know how difficult this is for you. We want to thank you for sharing your story. It helps.
If I said 2 girls, I didn't mean that. Yeah, it's 2 whole cabins. I mean, there's bunk beds. When I went to 4-H camp and did the camp and stuff, there's probably, I think it's about 20 girls per cabin, and those were smaller cabins than what you see here. I don't know how many would have been in each cabin, but they're bigger. So maybe 30 to 40 in each one, especially considering it's a 4-week thing,
Us and our viewers to understand what you all have gone through, and maybe perhaps what's going to come in the future when you try and absorb all this. When you went to rescue your girls, I'm assuming this is 4 o'clock in the morning, I guess 4:30. Could you see anything?
So me and all my girls were in our cabin. Luckily, the flood did not hit my area of the camp, my cabin. I don't know what the girls on the other side did. I just know that they had to evacuate in the middle of the night.
Holly Kate, can you tell us a little bit about Camp Mystic?
Yeah. So I started going to Camp Mystic in 2015 when I was 10 years old. My grandmother was a camper at Camp Mystic in the late 1930s. I have just treasured it as my home away from home. I've grown so much as a person. I've met some lifelong best friends through.
Yes, Hio made the emoji, the heart emoji for Camp Mystic, and she was sharing it with me last night. And I asked her, did she mind if I shared it? And she said to go ahead and do that. But if you guys aren't subscribed to Hio, please make sure you do so. I have her link in the description box But yeah, Xiosandra made that emoji for Camp Mystic. Xiosandra lives in Texas. And I thought that was very sweet of her.
Camp Mystic, and I've learned how to do archery, how to ride a horse, how to make friends, and it's really meant so much to me in my life.
It's a big part of your life. We were showing a map last hour that shows some of the camp was on high ground, some of the camp was on lower ground. Were you on the high ground, Holly Kate?
Yes. Yeah.
And what could you see or what could you sense from that river nearby?
So we have another layout. Here is the Guadalupe River up here. This is Camp Mystic. There's cabins up here. These are cabins for senior campers are at higher elevation. They're going to be further back from the river. Cabins down here were the ones at lower ground. They're also going to be at closer to the dining hall, closer to the office, closer to the recreation hall. These cabins are mere feet away from the office. The reason for this, if I had to suspect, is because the younger campers are going to be down here. The smaller children who would need access to the dining hall quicker, access to the office in case somebody got hurt quicker, recreation, whereas the senior campers are not going to necessarily need all of those things and somebody that close by, so they put them up here. It says missing girls were in low-lying cabins next to the river. And again, there's the low-lying cabins next to the river, the younger children, if I had to guess.
I just remember, waking up and getting out of my cabin. We had people who worked in our office who, were bringing us breakfast. And I got out of my cabin and my campers were like, look at the lake, look at the river. And I just remember seeing the waterfront was gone. And the dam was completely flooded. The river was dark brown, you couldn't see anything.
Oh man.
It was really scary.
Holly Kate, what was it like to try to reunite the parents with their campers?
That's a whole entire wall taken off. Keep in mind, that's what we see during a hurricane or a tornado. Okay, like a whole wall would be taken off of a building. You can see how well the building was built. Okay. The roof's coming down over here, or that might be where it was supposed to be. I'm not sure. But imagine how fast that water swept through there to rip the whole side of this building off. It's an older building, judging by the windows, built in the 30s, if I had to guess, when the camp was. This is probably one of the original buildings from the camp, okay? And not talking crap about building today, but back then, it was built well. That's why we have those houses around still. And so, for it to take it off, it's absolute. I can't even begin to fathom. And you got small children, babies, for, lack of a better word, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and water moving that fast. It's really sad.
I think I was.
So here's the beds, right? You saw how big the cabins were from the outside, and that's how far apart the beds were spaced. All those children.
Just in shock. God bless the Army and, everyone who helped us evacuate, seeing little girls run to their parents and just hug them and cry, and also seeing some parents who were looking for their little girls and they weren't there.
Yeah.
I was on the last bus to arrive. We all arrived safely. But that's just a sight I don't think I'll ever forget.
Yeah.
Holly Kate, is there anything that you would ask our audience to do now for all of you?
Pray, donate if you can to the Kerrville Flood Fund. There's still a lot of people missing, so spreading awareness and just bringing light to the situation and, you know, giving the families who need it just your thoughts and prayers.
Holly, Kate, there's a lot of people going to be relying on you to stay strong, so we're sending our best to you and others by that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
You hang tough, okay?
And I want to show you Texas camper who survived the flood speaks out, and I'm probably going to go for the day. There's a couple actually that we can talk about. Well, there's a couple more videos that we'll play, but this is very hard for me, and I'm not even, I don't even live in Texas, so man, I'm just at a loss for words.
Our next guest, Tara Bradburn's daughter, Callie McAlery, was one of them. Luckily, she was rescued and is all right. Both of them join us now.
Oh, goodness, Mercedes.
Tara, this camp has been a big part of your daughter's life.
It has been a huge part of her life since she entered at the end of second grade. This is her 8th year. It was her 8th year. We chose this camp. I was a Texan. It was important to me that my child have Texas roots and that faith formation be integral to the part of her camp experience. Living in Virginia, we brought her to Camp Mystic and turned her over to the Dick and Tweety Eastland family and Camp Mystic and their staff because we knew they would love on our child. They would help her grow in her faith and live the Mystic ideals of being a better person and bringing out the best in her. And we are so devastated by what has happened, but truly.
There they are riding in the helicopters. And I remember hearing or reading when this first happened that one of the counselors saw the water coming in. They got their campers out, they broke the windows and were able to get all their campers up and out and walked up to a higher elevation spot close to the Camp Mystic sign, and they were picked up by helicopters. So I'm wondering if these children you see in the helicopters are some of those.
Grateful and thankful to the Eastland family for all they have done and all they have given as a family to save the children that they could. It is devastating for us and for the Mystic Sisterhood to have lost so many children and for so many children to wait. But we are here today because we feel as though it is so important that this story remain in the news. There are children out there that need to be found, and we want the EMS and national federal services and the state services to continue to stay on the job as they have said they are going to, because we have children that need to be found and need to be reunited with their parents. And we are a truly blessed and fortunate family, and we want the same for others. We want those children to be found.
Callie, the fact that you are, I guess, one of the older campers, you're 16, right? And that put you up on
Yes,
Senior
sir.
Hill, and that's part of the reason you're alive today.
Yes, sir.
Take us back to the night of July 3rd. I guess everybody in your cabin, is that what you call them, went to bed?
Yeah.
Everything seemed normal?
We went to bed thinking it was just a normal thunderstorm. 1 minute you see lightning strike next to your cabin, and next you hear water's coming up, and you have kids running, just trying to get to other cabins, trying to get to safety. And luckily my cabin was one of the few cabins that did not get water, but the cabins in front of us did get some water.
Even up on Senior Hill. And I think, John, that conveys to you how fast the water came up and how high it came and how it was a 100-year historic flash flood. We had never seen anything like this.
So again, that means that in over 100 years, nothing like this had happened. It was historic because of how quick the floodwaters came in.
And I cannot say enough about what these young counselors did to calm these girls and to ensure their safety.
And I mean, again, these counselors are 17, 18, possibly 19 years old. That's about it. I mean, after that, they're not counselors anymore. I mean, in my eyes, you're still a child at 18. I tell my kids that all the time. When you turn 18, you might be legally an adult, but not in my eyes. You don't even your brain doesn't even stop growing until like 24 or 25. I mean, so in my eyes, still very much a child.
The men and the staff and the Eastland family did to try to help everyone that they could. They are heroes. And those young girls and those young counselors that are when our young girls were under for the summer were remarkable and were brave and were strong and saved so many children and kept so many children calm so that decisions could be made to keep other girls safe and move them to safety.
So how did that happen, Callie? You had water coming into your cabin, and what, counselors alerted you? How did you? What happened?
We heard. So we heard 1 second. It was really bad thunder. Like I woke up to a big giant sound of thunder and lightning striking. We heard. We had one of the campers run in and say, "Hey, our cabin's flooding." And we had some cabins. I knew some girls slept on trunks that night. Some girls had to share beds. Some girls slept on floors because they couldn't go back to their cabin because it was so flooded in 3 cabins. And the next morning, we had some of the older girls went back to their cabin to see if they could find anything. I remember one girl walked out with her Bible, and she was so happy just to have her Bible.
Mm.
It's my understanding that you put on your name tag in the middle of the night. What was that all about?
I put on my name tag because I was scared that if water's coming out next to our other cabins, that our cabin might be next. And I just put it on just for safekeeping, saying in my head I was saying if something does happen and I do get swept away, at least I'll have my name on my body.
Could you imagine being 16 years old and having that thought process? Water sweeping in, there's campers that were at lower elevated cabins that are not being found. And you're like, I need to put my name tag on so that if I get swept away in this water, police and first responders can identify my body for my mother. So they'll know who I am and they won't have to waste time figuring out who I am so that they can tell my mother that I'm dead.
I want to say something about that as a parent. My husband and I are both Department of Defense. I'm a retiree, and we have both spent many times in war zones on behalf of this nation. And we have spoken to our child more times than I can count about how to keep your child safe in an environment. This was not an environment we had ever thought we would have to prepare her for. And that comment to me as a parent,
Hey,
when
Kathleen.
she got off that helicopter and finally came into my arms and I saw this name tag on her, and it was the camp name tag she was issued on the day she arrived. It resonated with me that somewhere those little lessons that we gave her as parents years ago and throughout her life resonated with her in that moment. And we're just so thankful, but so devastated for so many families and her friends that are missing their siblings. She's missing her friends, that there are no answers. We just ask that we keep God's light in the middle of this incredible tragedy, and that we know he can give us miracles, and we just have to believe that these children and these families in Kerr County, there are so many lost, that we can recover these bodies, that we can recover those that are still clinging to hope out there. And we're just so grateful and thankful for all that the National Guard has done, Kerr County sheriffs, police, emergency management services, the governor, the federal administration, to continue to stay on the job day and night. It is what it will take to get to that point. And we know we have months ahead of us to help our child, and many will need help. This is a lot emotionally for anyone. And it's something as parents we owe our child, to try to be strong for her and to ensure that she also has the help she needs moving forward.
Yeah, Callie, you've had to go through a lot at a very young age. You've lost friends. Give us your final thoughts before we say goodbye about this experience that you've been through.
I really hope those kids that are missing are found. I knew a lot of those kids, and a lot of those kids the night before hugged me before we all went to bed. And it's hard to think about that. 1 minute they were hugging me, and the next minute they could be gone.
It must have been good to
And
see.
we will just continue to cling to our faith.
Must have been
that
good.
They will be found.
It must have been good to see that rescue chopper coming in.
Yes, it was really well.
Yeah.
Tara Bradburn and Callie McAlery, her daughter, we thank you both. And Callie, we're very glad you're alive.
Thank you.
This is Dallas teen rescued from Camp Mystic, heartbroken for fellow campers lost in the flood.
Heartbreak across Texas as the death toll rises again following the flooding in Central Texas. 51 people are now confirmed dead, including 15 children. Crews continue working around the clock through flooded out roadways and bridges, trying to find survivors. Governor Greg Abbott maintains this remains a rescue mission, not recovery. Now here's a look at some of the victims in this disaster. Many families mourning their losses as others are awaiting answers. This is what's left of Camp Mystic following the flood early Friday morning. The main road to there is washed out. Some campers, they were actually trapped in muddy bunks, clinging for safety, waiting for rescue. Tonight, we are hearing from a Dallas camper that was rescued from Camp Mystic. Staying on higher ground, she was safe from the floodwaters, yet remains heartbroken for those deeply impacted. She and her mother sat down with NBC5's Katie Blakey.
How are you doing today? I think while it was going on, I kind of felt like a sense of numbness. Saying it out loud is making me realize what actually happened and how bad it actually is.
Just days after being dropped off to start a much anticipated July term at Camp Mystic, 13-year-old Stella is now processing the rains that ravaged the beloved camp and claimed the lives of so many children. Her
So this is 13-year-old Stella. She's younger by 3 years than the girl we just saw.
children. Her sixth summer at Mystic, Stella was on the Cypress Lakeside when storms awoke her cabin early Friday morning.
Look, there you can see all the cabins and things. I mean, my goodness. There was a lot of people there.
On higher ground and out of view of the Guadalupe side. It wasn't until helicopters began buzzing overhead she realized something was truly wrong.
I think it's the uncertainty that really shook up our cabin.
Eventually, they were told campers along the Guadalupe had been evacuated due to flooding, but had no idea the scope of the crisis.
Eventually, when we got that news, we were all like hysterical and praying a lot, and the whole cabin was like really, really terrified, but not for ourselves.
Worried for those on the other side. It wasn't until military trucks arrived to evacuate their camp late Friday did they get a first glimpse of the devastation.
You'd see kayaks like in trees, and it was kind of horrific because we had no idea. Some people saw a couple trunks and just like in the debris, and then there was first responders in the water pulling out like girls, like sheets. I saw someone holding like a cloth from the water, and there were huge trees ripped out of the ground and like their roots. and it didn't look like Camp Mystic anymore.
Their thoughts remain with those grieving and those still waiting.
We are just so happy that she is safe and we are with her and we have her. So we are just grateful to be some of the fortunate ones. So there's a sense of relief and an equal sense of just awareness of that's not everybody's story.
It's really sad. And like y'all were mentioning earlier, yeah, she's younger than the first one. The first girl was 16, she's 13. Like y'all were mentioning earlier, I mean, survivor's guilt as well is going to plague them.
And that's just two kind of competing emotions.
Touched by the outpouring of support for the Camp Mystic community.
We hope that all the folks who are still missing loved ones are feeling that outpouring of love.
They are comforted by words often echoed by camp leaders.
A bell is not a bell until you ring it. A song is not a song until you sing it. The love in your heart was not put there to stay. Love is not love until you give it away. It really showed me how much of an impact Camp Mystic has had on our lives and how amazing of a place it is and how horrible it is to see it like this, because that's not Camp Mystic.
In Dallas, Katie Blakey, NBC5.
So we got the history of Camp Mystic and an inside look at Camp Mystic, and then I'm going to go for the day.
It's probably hard to imagine just how many parents drove this road at Camp Mystic to drop off their daughters for summer camp. Camp Mystic was opened in 1926 by University of Texas coach Doc Stewart. Initially known as Stewart's Camp for Girls, it focused on outdoor activities and various skills like roping, marksmanship, and arts. For nearly 100 years, kids have come here each summer for camp, except when the U.S. Army took it over for 2 years during World War II to make it a center for veterans to recover from their war injuries.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's been going since 1926, and they used it during World War II. That's crazy. Yeah, her mom did look at her like, wow, that's my child.
It's 700 acres situated on the South Fork of the Guadalupe River, 3 miles southwest of Hunt, Texas. Nearly 24 summer camps are scattered along the river and its tributaries in Kerr County. It's easy to see why the camp's located here, but the river can be treacherous when flash floods happen, and it was the wall of water that swamped Camp Mystic, and among the victims of the flood, longtime camp director Dick Eastland, who died when he tried to move some of the campers to higher ground. Not far from Camp Mystic, Heart of the Hills Summer Camp was between sessions, so no campers were at risk. But beloved camp director Jane Ragsdale perished in the flood. Now Camp Mystic lives on in the memories of the generations of girls who spent part of their summer times here, and in this poignant video that captured a much happier time only a few summers ago. Bob Buckaloo, KVUE News.
So that was a little bit of history on the camp, and then I have this last video, a inside look at Camp Mystic.
For nearly a century, Camp Mystic has been a safe haven for young girls who spent summers there, forging friendships that last a lifetime. But early Friday morning, the idyllic retreat was ravaged by torrential rain.
You'd see kayaks like in trees, and it was kind of horrific. It didn't look like Camp Mystic anymore.
And raging floodwaters that rose 30 feet in a single hour. Heroic counselors and staff members jumped into action, saving more than 700 campers caught in the storm, like Emma Foles, who officials say helped get her 14 campers to safety. The camp.
So that was one of the counselors that died, getting the girls to safety. A name here, I get it. I hope you have a good day.
Director Dick Eastland died while trying to save girls from the rising waters. His grandson writing, if he wasn't going to die of natural causes, this was the only other way, saving the girls that he so loved and cared for. his impact will never leave the lives he touched. Staff member Brooke Beard says she managed to escape through a cabin window as waist-high water rushed in.
We had no clue about what those little girls were going through at that time.
Soon, word of the damage and the dozens missing began to spread.
Girls were looking for their sisters and their cousins, and there was a lot of tears.
Brooke says in those moments, the camp.
So here you can see that might be the one I was referencing earlier, where they got the campers out and they were walking them out through the middle of the night barefoot up a hillside to get them somewhere safe. And you can see it's dark out. I mean, it's the early morning hours, and they're wrapped in blankets, carrying whatever they can in their hands, walking barefoot to get to higher ground.
Counselors stepped up to help anyone they could.
So many lives were saved because of 18-year-olds.
These photos depicting the heartbreaking aftermath as we're learning some of the names of the young.
So Janie Hunt, Renee, I'm not going to try to say her last name. We talked about her in the article. Leela Bonner, Eloise Peck, Chloe Childress, and Anna Margaret Bellows are some of the lives lost.
Lives lost, including 18-year-old Chloe Childress, a camp counselor who's being remembered for her compassion, 9-year-old Janie Hunt, a first-time camper, and 8-year-old Renee Samastrala, whose uncle wrote she will forever be living her best life at Camp Mystic.
Oh, man.
Now, the tight-knit community leaning on each other and their faith. At a nearby reunification center, emotional embraces between campers and their families. And this touching image, a bus full of girls evacuating through scenes of unthinkable destruction.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Uniting in song.
I'll shout it from the mountaintops, praise God.
Camp tradition of friendship and faith.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you.
All right, y'all, I can't do anymore. Yes, the water engulfed entire cabins. The amount of water that came through in a 24-hour period was the same amount of water that goes through Niagara Falls in a month and a half. 26 feet in 45 minutes. I can't. I want to have a moment of silence to remember the victims. I'm not going to play the outro because it's just not the live stream to do that. I am going to put a timestamp to skip the intro. I did want to do that part for you guys because it is important to put the missing children's video out there, and to do the intro, to know, what we talk about, that it's for adults only, that, fair use and all of that. But with that, I'm going to end it for the day. I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate the support. There are links if you would like to help the people of Texas in the description box. Also, if you're a victim, there's a link for FEMA. The Texas Agriculture website will also help people trying to take care of crops and with feed and things like that. And I appreciate y'all being here. I will be back tomorrow, and I'll see y'all then. Have a good day. Mercedes, I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. Thank you. I think it was just, torrential rains. I think it just sat over the area like it did here for a minute. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting by watching this and learning about what happened. And please keep all of these people and victims and animals in your thoughts and prayers. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.